Alright here, so I'm going to try round two. So I'm going to work on this. I'm going to message Heather real quick and see if she could pop back on. Let's see here. Alright, so basically I'm going to go back over what I did before because it was too quiet. And I want to make sure that this information gets out there for you. So some of the content, I'm not scripted at all. I'm just kind of flying off the cuff. So if you want to check out the other video, you can. But basically, the main reason I'm doing this video is I need people to fully understand what's going on with hormones. Hormones are something that are hugely important, not just for your health, but just for your overall feeling of well-being, because we're going to be a direct representation of what our hormones are. So if we're testosterone dominant, there are certain traits that go along with having testosterone dominance. Those things being things like irritability, anger, irrational behavior. And we have the other side of the coin where we have estrogen dominance. And so estrogen dominance can then be where we have more of an emotional individual, especially when we're talking about guys. Increase in estrogen can also lead to things like gynecomastia or endometriosis, those types of things, heavy bleeding around your period, your menstrual cycle, breast tenderness, you name it, and those types of things can be impacted from your hormones. But the overall reason that I'm doing this is because nowadays people are being taught that it's this overly simplistic system that we don't really have to work too much for. If we have deficient levels of testosterone, or if we get diagnosed with low T, then we have that diagnosis. And so what our common sense would say, if we have low T, then we need to get high T. So what do is we inject ourselves with testosterone, or people will do that, and then what that'll do is skyrocket your testosterone for a short period of time, and then it'll eventually taper back down again. And so these guys are catching the dragon, more or less, and they're trying to inject more and more and more to continue to raise up those levels, all the while they don't fully understand what that's doing to their health. So this video, or the point of this video, is to explain the hormonal pathway, so that way you know, and you'll probably know this hormonal pathway better than your medical doctors or even your endocrinologists, because they really truly don't take the time to dive into this information. So that's where I come into play. So let's go. I'm going to share my screen here with us. Do this. There we go. Good. Okay, so what are hormones? So hormones, it's still on the quiet side. Oh my gosh, I did it again and then it went quiet on us. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep pushing through here, Heather. I can't figure out the audio right now. I'll bring in a microphone for the next broadcast here. But as long as it doesn't kick me off, I'm just going to keep pushing through, or I'll get closer to the screen or the microphone, so that way it will hear me. So hormones, again, are going to be a cholesterol-backed molecule that is necessary for the body. So let's talk about that. Let's unpack that. So if we have testosterone, estrogens, we have hormonal deficiency, number one question you want to go after is, what are you eating? What's your diet? What's your nutrition? And what type of medications might you be on? So if we need cholesterol, we need healthy fats in order to get that cholesterol to be able to make our hormones. It's a building block. It would be like trying to build a house without ever having any bricks. It just wouldn't make sense. Same thing happens in the body. Whatever you clicked before you hit kicked off went louder. I did noise cancel, didn't hold for very long, but so I'm just gonna keep on with this. And again, don't try it now or else I'll get kicked off. Good point. So statin medications are one of the number one medications that are being given because really health disease and heart attack, stroke, those are your number one killer in the United States. So people fear high cholesterol, even though cholesterol is there to help us. It's there to reduce inflammation in the body and rebuild and repair tissues. Cholesterol is used in the brain, it's used in the cells, it's used in hormones, it's used in so many different things that it's necessary for the body. So again, find out that cause as to why you might have high cholesterol, because ultimately it could be because you have low hormones. So you have a higher demand from cholesterol, so your body needs to produce more. So that being said, let's take a look at this overall hormonal pathway. So again, the hormonal cascade, this is designed to stress you out, freak you out, and give you too much information, so that way it's difficult for you to dissect. But really, again, the overall point of this is to make sure that you're not oversimplifying what's happening with your hormones. So cholesterol's up in the top left-hand corner there. It shoots down to pregnenolone, which is called the mother of hormones, because again, it gives birth more or less to all of these other guys. So if we're looking down and we're trying to find testosterone, we got to go down to the bottom, like middle bottom area, and you see testosterone. You see all these blue arrows that are pushing around from that level, right? So what happens? So testosterone, again, not being an end stage hormone, testosterone is one of those ones where it can go all over the place. Either we have deficient levels that are precursors to testosterone that we might need help with. Maybe we have hypogonadism or secondary hypogonadism where your body's not producing it. Maybe your luteinizing hormone isn't producing it. Maybe we're just converting it all into DHT and we're having prostate issues. Maybe we have too high of estradiol, and there's reasons that can happen. So even if we're successfully dosing you with a proper amount of testosterone in a testosterone shot, you're still, if we're leaking it out of these pathways, you're still going to have a tendency to go down those same pathways. And so that's what I was saying before I got kicked off here, is because when we have that supplementation, with testosterone, if we're still converting into estradiol, we're going to get a condition called gynecomastia. We're going to have estrogen dominance, and it's going to be the exact opposite of what a guy is typically taking testosterone for. They want to have a higher sex drive, more masculine, get fit and shape, blah, 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 all the other things that the commercials will tell you for low T. So that's fine and dandy, not really, but it's fine and dandy if that's all you are, right? If that's all you were going for is just, hey, can I raise testosterone? But it doesn't have a long-term effect on the body. In fact, it does have a long-term effect. It doesn't stay. It's going to cause your body to become harmed. And that's this thing where when we're doing anything with even bioidentical hormones, when we're introducing these chemicals into the body, if we're not smart about it, we don't know what we're doing, we can cause a lot of harm in our body. We can cause testicular shrinkage, which nobody wants. We can cause our blood to get thicker, which would then lead to erectile dysfunction, which as a bodybuilder, people would want to take more testosterone to try to compensate for those symptoms. But it could just be that testosterone that's creating those symptoms. So you have to really, truly, truly understand what's going on. But I would say the number one thing, or the number two pathways that can happen in this presentation here is either you're going to be converting your testosterone into that 5-alpha DHT and affecting your prostate, or you're going to be converting down into your estradiol or your E2. And so if you're doing that, then you're going to have more of that estrogen dominance. And so you can use aromatase inhibitors, but again, you're going to have to continue to use that to stop that to block that conversion from testosterone to E2. But then you also have a higher risk of converting then over to DHT. So it's not a cookie cutter thing. These endocrinologists keep missing the boat by a long shot. So you have to understand that. Why? These hormones are just a snapshot into your current life. Figure out why your hormones look like they do on this piece of paper, and it comes with meeting with a practitioner who truly cares about getting you healthy, who truly cares about finding the cause. And so I know a lot of doctors who will just sit around and just screw around while while you're going over a consultation, and they're just clicking around on Facebook or whatever, and they don't really care, and they talk to you for 2 seconds and kick you out the door. That's not what I do. That's not what the people that I refer people to do, because this stuff is so intricate. You have to make sure you pay attention to every specific detail, because no two people are the same, and really, you're not the same. Every day you have a new stress, you have a new thing. You have to make sure you're understanding the person who is in front of you. So different things that can cause your hormones to be abnormal are going to be things like, again, testosterone usage, taking certain medications. I already talked about the SSRIs, or antidepressants, can cause more conversion from testosterone to estrogens. You have mycotoxin illness, so mold toxicity can cause a higher conversion rate over into estrogen. Again, there's so many things that can happen. And so for luteinizing hormone, if we have pituitary gland issue, which can happen if we had concussions, we had a history of playing sports, football, etc., soccer, there's some of the highest rates of concussions or head-to-head contact or head-to-ball contact. And those can actually cause your pituitary gland to go kind of hyperspastic, where it doesn't work the way that it's supposed to. And so if we don't have luteinizing hormone, then you're not going to have a message to your boys to tell you to produce testosterone. So there's a lot of things that go into this. So I'm going to break this down on what our test looks like. It's a little bit more simplistic than what I just went over. So this is, again, it's my favorite test for hormones. It's called a Dutch Complete. This is just one of the pages because I just wanted to focus on the sex hormones today. So you can see this pathway, this breakdown, etc. This is one of my patients. He's a middle-aged guy. He's in great shape. Just had a couple of complaints, lower testosterone type feeling. He had a history of extracurricular activities, if you know what I'm saying here. So we wanted to see where his hormones were at, or if HRT would be a good option for him. So if we're looking at his overall hormonal picture, he has next to no hormones whatsoever. He's low on pretty much everything except the etiocholinone over in the 5-beta pathway, right down below DHEA, and the androstenedione. That's the only one that's even up within like a normal-ish range. Everything else is incredibly low. And then if we look over to the estrogens, look what's happening. He's having symptomatology of low testosterone. So where is it going? It's all, can I say this again? It's all going to estradiol, or E2. So if he was going to inject testosterone into his body, where is that testosterone going to go? It's going to go down that aromatase pathway right into that estradiol, because he cannot hold on to any of that extra hormone or any of that extra testosterone. And then even then, he's not able to detox that estradiol out of his body because it's stuck there, okay? So this is just one of the examples that I come across on a consistent basis where people think that they know what they're doing, or they are hoping that they're doing the best that they can. They're taking your over-the-counter supplements, or a friend of a friend told them to take something to boost their testosterone, but they can't really find out what's going on. That's where we come into play. As functional medicine practitioners, we have to make sure we know where the body is at. So again, we always talk about testing. You don't want to just guess on this stuff, because this stuff can be life or death. I mean, if he has high aromatase activity, there's a lot of estrogen dominant type cancers that are out there. But with that being said, know what is causing your current symptomatology, know what's causing that conversion, and know what can cause that conversion. That's where meeting with me or somebody else that I can refer you to would get you the best information. So at the end of the day, you want to test yourself. So I'm going to bring it back up to full screen here. So as a whole, I really hope that this video is enough to at least impact you, enough to just take a look at that steroid hormone pathway and see, what can cause high, what can cause lows, because every person is incredibly different than the last, and why one person might be converting to that 5-alpha DHT may be completely different than the next one, and why one person is converting down that aromatase pathway could be completely different from another one. The gut, the microbiome has a huge impact on that activity as well. So there's so many things that come into play with your hormones. And for me, I usually don't think or say that hormones are your overall problem. There's usually something going on in the digestive tract, or that microbiome, that's causing those hormones to express themselves the way that they are. So even when some people come into the office, if I see there's massive inflammation in the gut on an abdominal film or an AP lumbar film, I'm going to say that this is where we're going to need to start, because if we don't, that cholesterol that you need to build your hormones, that cholesterol is going to be going down into your stomach or your gut to repair any tissue damage that's down there, because ultimately our body heals in a hierarchy. So as we're working on the gut, sometimes hormones will already start to balance. Low testosterone can balance back up to good testosterone. Female hormonal issues, infertility can balance out and go back to normal just with healing the gut. So there's so much that goes into this stuff. So that being said, hopefully this video was helpful. Please like it, please share it, and get this information out to anybody who truly wants to be healthy. And if you have any questions for me, either leave it in the comment box or message me personally. I'd love to be able to get back to you. So with that being said, have a beautiful day today, and I'll talk to y'all soon.